Hello everybody, welcome back, and this is the second time I've had to make this video because it's the first one with no sound, so I'm going to run through it. So basically you don't need me to tell you that there's been a bit of a pullback, hasn't there? Let's face it. And most of that was I suppose there was clues on the chart as we were speaking about this death cross on the 4 hourly over the last few days, and then we got that death cross yesterday, so no big surprise that we did continue to come down, but the speed that we came down was definitely insult to injury from Joe Biden talking about capital gains tax moving up, doubling it basically. And even though me in the UK and you over in India and you over in, I don't know, Singapore or somewhere, is a completely different tax system, is not relevant to us. Unfortunately, we do trade in tether, which is pegged to the dollar. The dollar had a bit of a bounce. Traditional markets in America had a bit of a dip. It's all relative, and it's Joe Biden's fault, basically. However, now what's happening is that we do appear to be in possibly a downtrend, yet to be confirmed, but it's pretty much in the bag, but who knows. The downtrend would begin when we confirm this to be a lower low, and then we would expect a lower high, and then another lower low, and then a lower high, and so on and so on. But what are we going to do? Are we going to panic? Are we going to just go into hibernation for a couple of months while it resolves itself? Are we going to try and short this? Which I wouldn't suggest to do that. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to chill out and I'm going to look at the bigger picture, which is the weekly. So this is the 20 weekly moving average, all right? Being above here in any market, doesn't matter what it is, it gives you, I suppose, clarification that we're still in an uptrend on the larger scale. All right, coming down to test here is very common, and in a bull market, well, you'd expect to come down to test it a few times at least. Now, Bitcoin runs on a 4-year cycle, largely dictated by the 4-year halving event. So, 4 years, a halving takes place. So the supply of Bitcoin to miners is split in half, causing more scarcity. Then what happens is you get that running up to that halving event, it kind of gets priced in. Then it takes place, a bit of a non-event really, as far as price action is concerned. Then the reality of the scarcity starts to kick in. Then the bubble starts to form towards the end of the last part of the year, and basically there's a 4-year market cycle, 3 years up, 1 year down, and that's basically what's happening again. The market cycle's basically playing out as expected, as intended, and 2021 was going to be the biggest year of the market cycle, just like the last year of any market cycle with Bitcoin previously has always been the biggest one. So what we're looking to see is easily get corrections in this, no problem at all. We get corrections, no problem, and coming down to the 20 moving average on the weekly is to be expected at least once, even in this last year. So maybe that's what we're going to get, and if that is the case, then it's coming in at around about $44,000. No big deal. Even actually from the very top, that's really not a big deal, to be honest with you. That's a 32% retracement. If I remember rightly, we had a 32% retracement over in January, didn't we? So that was from here to here. Yeah, it's about 31.5% retracement. It's no big deal. Now, if that does break down, because that is relatively conservative, when we think about it in terms of percent, that's not a big deal. There is another moving average I would hold relative strength to, and that would be this 200 exponential moving average on the daily, and that's moving up every day, and at the moment it comes up at around 39,000 thereabouts, and that should also catch us if we did get a wick down below the 20 weekly. If we did break down below here and close below here for a period of time, it would be a significant event really. It would be perhaps maybe saying that actually this might be a failed cycle, which I'll be very surprised at, considering the amount of people buying into Bitcoin, institutional money, which I hate saying. I hate saying those words. It's silly, but this cycle is slightly different to the previous ones. It doesn't mean that I don't expect it to end up with a big bubble pop at the end of this year. It's just that institutional money, not that it's a big deal or anything, but there is one difference, which is that the circulating supply is dwindling. But if you wanted to right now, you could go and buy a Bitcoin. So could I. So it's not. There is still plenty of circulating supply, but I mean it is dwindling, and in that respect, at some point it will be a lot harder to get one, and that will cause much bigger sustainable prices in Bitcoin. It's not quite there yet, but institutional money will do that to it if they keep sucking up the supply. They talk about the giant wealth transfer, and You've got to think about what that means these days. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, I just wanted to say that it's not the end of the world. It's not the biggest problem I've ever seen in the world. And if we were thinking about altcoins, you know, altcoins are a bit of a will they won't they kind of vibe at the moment. If we look at the Bitcoin dominance, we are below this support line here. We've broken down again, you know, below another support. So there could still easily be a renaissance in altcoins. But for the moment, as we appear to be starting a downtrend on the daily, we have to treat it as that, and assume that the market will also downtrend with it. So when catching knives, it'll be my strategy to leave altcoins alone for the moment, even though there's plenty of opportunity there. I still have quite a lot of my portfolio in altcoins, and I'm happy just to leave them to do their things, because they do have good charts anyway, long term, and decent fundamental value anyway. But for the remaining tether that I've got, I'm only really interested in picking up Bitcoin with that, because this is what's going to dictate the downtrend generally for the entire market. So for me, it's the most reliable chart to trade. So if I'm going to be buying any dips, it's going to be on Bitcoin for that reason, and that's just me. I wouldn't suggest anybody try and short this on getting clever. You know, this downtrend could easily be over at this level here, which is just not far away from where we are already. And even if we did break down further than that, it's not going to be the end of the world, and it's only a little bit further. So really, do you want to short something that looks this bullish in the long term, or would you rather wait carefully for a potential entry point for a long? I think I know what I would rather do. So let's not try and get too clever and also let's not get too panicky and scared. You know, there was a bearish setup on the 4 hourly. Joe Biden kicked us down the stairs. Fair play. We're going to get bounces along the way. We're already getting one here, but you'll get bounces on downtrends too. Let's just not panic and not go crazy, and let's just chill out and wait for the uptrend to begin, or the bottom to form, and then we can get back in on it. Remember the 4-year cycle. Everything's going to be fine. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the live stream tonight for Patreon users. Have a nice day. Take it easy.